Hey, y'all, check this out, and more on Mike Bobo and Jared Curtis, the #1 quarterback in the nation, who chose to commit to Georgia yesterday. But check this out first. More on that in a second. This is the story of the 2021 national champions. Here's the story of the 2022 national champions. 2020 All-State Sugar Bowl champs. 2021 Capital One Orange Bowl champs. 2021 national champs. Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl champs. 2022. 2022 SEC champions. Is that when they beat LSU 50-30? Yep. 2022 national champions. 2024 SEC champions. I can't even reach all of them. There's so many. Orange Bowl. Again. Is that Michigan again? That's my favorite Georgia player of all time right there. No Sean Marino. That's when I fell in love with Georgia football. I don't know. I've just been hearing so much negativity about Georgia in the last 3 or 4 years. I don't know. I don't know. It's weird when you hear about how bad Georgia's going to be and how they're going to fall apart and fall off the cliff. And then you walk in your room and see 2021 champions, 2022, 23, 24. Oh my goodness. SEC champions, national champions, major bowl game champions. But anyway, let's get back to the point of the video. So, Jared Curtis, the #1 quarterback in the nation, according to multiple sites, on 3. 247's got him as the third or fourth quarterback. But basically, industry-wide, on the major industries, Rivals, 247, on 3, ESPN, all the major recruiting sites, a consensus has Jared Curtis as the #1 quarterback in the nation, signing with the Georgia Bulldogs yesterday. I've been looking all day yesterday when he made his commitment. I've been looking all morning, all afternoon, trying to see any of the Mike Bobo haters out and about today and see what they had to say about it. And surprisingly, I don't know, they've all crawled back into their hole, into the rock where they came from. Because I didn't see any Mike Bobo hater have a single problem with Georgia landing the #1 quarterback in the nation yesterday. And why don't you go back and read some of his, why don't you go back and listen to the commitment video and the post-commitment video. And when they asked Jared Curtis, what are some of the reasons you decided to choose Georgia? All you heard was Mike Bobo, Mike Bobo, Mike Bobo, Mike Bobo. Our family really liked Mike Bobo. We really liked how Mike Bobo had developed quarterbacks in the past, such as Matthew Stafford, David Green, Aaron Murray, on and on and on and on. At this point, Mike Bobo has recruited more 5-star quarterbacks than 4-star quarterbacks. And you say, yeah, well, now, so here's the argument. Georgia ain't going to be able to land Jared Curtis at #1 quarterback. Why would he want to go play for Mike Bobo? Mike Bobo don't know what he's doing. 5 minutes later, Georgia lands the commitment from Jared Curtis. Jared Curtis is saying the main reason that I came to Georgia is because we really like Mike Bobo. Now 5 minutes later, it went from Georgia's not going to get him to now they got him. Now the argument's going to be, well, I don't know why in the world he'd want to go play for Mike Bobo. All he does is throw screen passes. I don't know why in the world he'd want to go and win SEC championship. I mean, I tell you what, Kirby Smart, he's just best buddies with Mike Bobo, and that's the only reason he's got him hanging around. And oh my gosh, Kirby Smart, the man who makes $13 million a year to coach the Georgia Bulldogs, his alma mater, the place that he loves. He graduated from Georgia. He played football at Georgia. He went and bettered himself in his career path to end up being the head coach at Georgia. But now somehow we believe that Kirby Smart is on this life mission to ruin everything he's ever done, to ruin his legacy by holding on to Mike Bobo. Let me tell you something. If Kirby Smart didn't believe in Mike Bobo, he would have fired him yesterday. Okay? People are like, well, I don't know why in the world this guy would want to come play for Mike Bobo. I don't know. Let's run through the list. Maybe some reasons maybe why he'd want to come play for Mike Bobo. Let's see. Aaron Murray. Does that ring a bell? Oh, yeah. His offensive coordinator and quarterbacks coach was Mike Bobo. Let's see. Aaron Murray, I think if you look on there, oh, yeah, I'm 100% sure. He still leads. He is the all-time leader in the SEC. I'm talking Alabama. I'm talking LSU and Joe Burrow. I'm talking anything you want to look at from any year. LSU had the greatest offense ever in 2019, unstoppable. But Aaron Murray, the Georgia Bulldogs quarterback, still holds the record for all-time passing yards leader in the SEC history. I mean, all time, number one. His offensive coordinator and quarterbacks coach was Mike Bobo. Matthew Stafford. Let's see, what did he do? Oh, he didn't do nothing at Georgia. Georgia always underachieved under Mike Bobo. They had the best team in the country and couldn't win the national championship under Mike Bobo. What did Matt Stafford do because of his development at Georgia? I don't know. He went on to win a Super Bowl, maybe? Did he go on to win multiple Super Bowls? I don't know. He almost did. But regardless, he won a Super Bowl. What about guys like David Green, who were under Mike Bobo? Oh, he's the all-time winningest quarterback in SEC history, meaning as the starting quarterback, won the most games in SEC history. Who was his offensive coordinator and quarterbacks coach? I don't know. Guys like Mike Bobo. See, guys, Bobo gets this bad rap. It's like an infectious disease. It's all it is people get online and all that people talk about. It's become this big point that is completely, it has nothing to stand on when you get actually talking to these people about why do you think he's not a good coordinator? Well, because Todd Monken, he won 2 national championships, and then when Mike Bobo took over, he couldn't win a national championship. And he had Brock Bowers and Ladd McConkey too. Yep, you're right. And when he had Brock Bowers and Ladd McConkey, he also went 12-0. The only game they lost was to Alabama in the 2021 what was it, 2022 or 2020? I done got so many dates in my head and got so mad I can't even think. It was the 2023 SEC championship game, I believe, that they lost to Alabama. If I'm wrong on that, I can't keep up with all these dates. What gets weird is like during the season, it'll be like this year's the 2025 football season, and then they'll end up playing the national championship in 2026, even though it's for the 25 season, so it gets kind of confusing in there. 22 Georgia won the SEC championship game against LSU, and then 23 lost to Alabama, knocking them out. Am I right on that? I tell you what, I can't even keep up with my own dates. I need to get my thoughts together before I even start to make a video. But anyway, the only game that Mike Bobo, like it's all on Bobo. If they lose the game, it's on Bobo. He gets all of the blame and none of the credit. He was without Brock Bowers and Ladd McConkey, and their starting left tackle, who was a first-round NFL draft pick. People fail to realize that Todd Monken also had, on the other side of the ball, where the defense, they had the probably the greatest defense to ever play college football in the 2021 and 2022 defense. They're literally still first-round draft picks going off the board from that team. I mean, literally the entire front seven was first-round draft picks. Jordan Davis, Jalen Carter, Devontae Wyatt, Nakobe Dean, Nolan Smith. I mean, on and on and on. Lewis Seen, both cornerbacks. They're all in the NFL. Do you realize that the very next year when Georgia somehow Mike Bobo is not good for Georgia, and Kirby's best friends with him, and they just need to fire him because they didn't win 3 national championships in a row? Are you crazy or something? Are you crazy? Like, because Todd Monken won 2 national championships in a row, and Mike Bobo took over, and then they did not three-peat. That's somehow the proof in the pudding that Mike Bobo isn't going to work for Georgia. Do you know that Mike Bobo literally led the nation in third down conversions in 2023? I mean, Georgia's offense, let me let you in on something. People have this big thing built up against Bobo because of back when he was the offensive coordinator in the early 2000s and the late 2000s and the early 2010s. And they said, well, we lost games because Mike Bobo would just run, pass. Do you know how many points Georgia was averaging back when Mike Bobo was the offensive coordinator? I'm talking about like back 2007 to 2013 or 14 or whatever it was. They were averaging 41 points a game. Georgia was losing games to Florida like 45-42. Georgia was losing games to LSU like 38-36. The offense was never the problem. I don't get it. Todd Monken literally credited Mike Bobo and said that a lot of these schemes that we're coming up with, when Todd Monken was the offensive coordinator, a lot of these schemes that we're coming up with, give a lot of credit to Mike Bobo for helping me do this. Now, the number 1 quarterback in the nation commits to Georgia yesterday, and he says it's because of Mike Bobo. Okay, so I just, this video's got a little long and a little, I done went off on many topics I didn't want to go off on, but I'm just simply trying to say, now that they've landed the number 1 quarterback in the nation, and he's coming to Georgia. Do you think that Tennessee or Alabama or Ohio State or Michigan wouldn't want this guy? You think Oregon wasn't trying to get this guy? And here comes somebody talking about, oh, yeah, this is NIL. Georgia just paying more NIL money. Yeah, that's all that is. That's just a bidding war. Oregon and Georgia actually got outbidded by 2 other teams. There were 2 other teams trying to pay Jared Curtis more money to come there. It wasn't all about the money. He's making $2 million. Okay, he's making $600,000 to $800,000 in his first year, and he's making 1.2 to 1.4 in his second year. Hey, you can't tell people, hey, here's the rules you play by, and then when they play by those rules and continue to dominate, say, oh, you're just doing it because of the rules. I'm just simply trying to say, now that Georgia's got him, and now that he has clearly stated time and time again that Mike Bobo's the reason they got him, and he feels good about how Bobo can develop quarterbacks and how he always has had a great track history of developing quarterbacks. The only reason I'm trying to finish up fast is because my phone's on 3%. It's about to die. Now I want somebody to get in here and try to talk me into the fact of how it's somehow a bad thing that Georgia landed the #1 quarterback. Well, now because of NIL, we don't spend all our money on him. We won't be able to get no receivers. We won't be able to get no running backs or linebackers. Now, what is the alternative? Do you not get the best quarterback in the nation? What I'm saying is, people have done made up in their mind, it don't matter what happens. It don't matter what happens, good or bad, it's going to be Bobo's fault. If we don't win if we land Jared Curtis, well, I don't know why he wants to play for Bobo. If we don't land Jared Curtis, it's because, well, he didn't want to play for Bobo. It doesn't matter if we got him or didn't get him. If we don't win the national championship game, Georgia could go and play Ohio State. Georgia could go and play Oregon in the national championship game this year, and they could literally lose 49-48, and people would say, well, Mike Bobo, he could only score 48 points. They only scored 7 touchdowns, only had 541 yards passing. He kept throwing them screen plays, though. Every time it hit, they only hit for 6 or 7 yards, set us up in a 2nd and 3. This guy has forgot more about football than most of us will ever know. And I'm just saying, if we win the national championship, it's because it's going to be because the defense was so great. It had nothing to do with Bobo. But if we lose the national championship, it's going to be all his fault. People have just made up in their minds that they're going to blame him no matter what, because they get on Facebook, they get on YouTube, they get on Instagram, they get on TikTok, and that's all people know how to talk about. Mike Bobo. Oh my gosh, Mike Bobo. Kirby Smart they ain't never going to be able to do nothing as long as they got Mike Bobo. I tell you what, last year, that's why they failed last year. It was all because of Mike Bobo. That's why they didn't get nothing done. Yeah, Kirby and Bobo, they're just best buddies. That's the only reason he's keep holding on to him. They won't never do nothing under him. He can't call a play. He don't know what he's doing. He's running this 1970s offense. What did they do last year? Oh, I don't know. They just won the SEC championship. Meaning, did Alabama win the SEC championship? I was talking to an Alabama fan a couple months back, and they said, yeah, both Georgia and Bama, we both just fell off last year and didn't accomplish nothing. It was just a throwaway season. I was like, hold on a minute. I know Alabama might have lost 4 games. Georgia won the SEC. Okay, so my phone died. Sorry, I'm outside burning a fire. A little hot and sweaty out here. Got some diesel fuel spraying on this fire out here. So, I've regrouped in my mind, I've calmed down, and I think the point I was making was about, I was talking to an Alabama fan, and they were talking about how both of our seasons were throwaways. Like, well, we both just like they done got this thing built up in their mind, these Bama fans, that if they have a bad season, that means Georgia had a bad season too. They were like, oh yeah, we both just kind of fell off last year and didn't really do much. We just had a throwaway. We just a throwaway season. Yeah, the lost season. Hold on a minute. Y'all guys might have lost 4 games. Y'all might have went down there and took a butt whooping to Oklahoma and went and lost to Vanderbilt, and then got beat by your daddy, the Michigan Wolverines, for the 2nd year in a row. I mean, couldn't he win the daggum ReliaQuest Tax Slayer Bowl, the Waste Management Bowl? But Georgia won the SEC championship, brother. What are you talking about? They're the 2024 SEC champions, meaning they were better than Tennessee, better than LSU, better than Florida, better than Texas. Georgia beat Texas. What are you talking about? Georgia beat Texas twice. Had to beat them again in the SEC championship game to do it. Who had a throwaway season? I'm just simply trying to say that people will literally now try to act like it's like a bad thing that Bobo got a 5-star quarterback. You're going to have the people talking about, well, everything, 5-star quarterbacks ain't never panned out for Georgia. The championships we won was with a walk-on quarterback. all these 5 stars get in here and they think they're something and this just ain't gonna work out. It's like, guys, what is the alternative? What would you like them to? Are you suggesting to us? Are you saying that Georgia should not go after the 5-star quarterback and try to find a walk-on that's going to somehow? Let me tell you something. Stetson Bennett ain't coming back. Okay, I mean, I don't understand. It's like literally no matter what happens. Well, if we get the quarterback, well, I don't know why he came here. He wants to play under Bobo. But if we don't get the quarterback, well, it's because he didn't want to come play here. So now we're going to have to go out and try to find a lower ranked quarterback because of Mike Bobo. But then when we do land him, 5 stars ain't never panned out at Georgia. It's like no matter what happens, they're going to be upset and mad at Bobo and acting like he's the reason for everything. Look. I want you to go back and look at the interview that Kirby Smart did, the most recent interview he did with Josh Pate. Everybody knows Josh Pate. He's the big dog up there. Josh Pate's college football show got his, everybody knows who Josh Pate is. Go back and look at Josh Pate's college football show, the interview with Kirby Smart. And he asked him, he said, look, Kirby, Georgia wasn't that good at running the ball last year. Y'all were in the back half of the field. Y'all did have a less than stellar season, which is crazy to say because you look up and even when Georgia underperforms, you guys still have the ring on your hand. 2024 SEC champions. But what do you have to say about last season? In other words, what Josh was nicely asking is, what about all these fans that are acting like, oh my gosh, we're falling off, and what about Bobo, and why is Kirby hanging on to him? And Kirby put it in nice words, and of course I'm paraphrasing here. Go back and watch the interview for yourself and tell me this isn't what he said. Kirby said that fans and people can have whatever opinions they want to have, okay? And he said he respects all those opinions, and he doesn't. He said people can say whatever they want to say. They can think whatever they want to think. He said, but I, Kirby Smart, the guy who has won half the national championships in the last 4 or 5 years, the guy who's won half the SEC championships in the last 4 or 5 years, said, I know football, and I know the type of team we had last year. He was saying in a nice way, we did not have as good of a team as we're used to having. Okay. And he said, basically he was saying, we never should have been here. We never should have made it as far as we made it. And he told Josh Pate, he said, hands down, he said, I have the best coaching staff in the country. And he said, last year when they lost to Notre Dame in the playoffs, he said, last year was our, as a staff, best coaching job we have ever done, hands down. And he said, people want to look up and act like, well, we won the national championship in 21 and 22. So how can you say that this was your best coaching performance now? Well, because NIL and transfer portal have completely evened out the rosters. Okay. And on top of that, the schedules have gotten twice as hard. Guys, Georgia had to go on the road to Tuscaloosa, Alabama. Georgia had to go on the road to Austin, Texas. They had to go on the road and play at Ole Miss. It's not like it used to be. And the schedules have gotten harder for everyone, not just Georgia. But Georgia had the hardest schedule in the country last year. Number one. Hardest schedule in the country, and they won the SEC. They had a less than stellar team. They had a less than stellar performance. They put all their eggs into the basket of Carson Beck, and it didn't pan out. And yes, I was the first one defending Carson Beck because in the age of transfer portal and NIL, he stuck it out. He stuck it out and was the backup quarterback for 2 or 3 years at Georgia, and he waited his turn. Yes, I guess when he got his NIL money, it went to his head a little bit, and he kind of became a punk. Okay, so it didn't pan out. But, I'm just saying, they had a less than stellar team, a less than stellar season, less than stellar performances. They weren't able to run the ball like they're used to running the ball. The offensive line didn't perform that well, and they look up and they won the SEC championship. Okay, Kirby Smart isn't keeping Mike Bobo around because they're friends. Okay, that is the silliest thing I have ever heard in my life. Do you see the passion and energy Kirby has and the desire to win? Do you seriously think that he's hanging on to Mike Bobo because they're friends? He truly believes that Bobo is the right guy for the job right now. Okay, and they just landed the number one quarterback in the nation, and people are going to say, "Oh yeah, but now we're going to see what he's going to do with him." Now we're going to see what he's going to do with him. Well, that's what I love about it the most. You're right. We are going to see what he's going to do with him. And I'm telling you, whenever Georgia, is in the next 2 or 3 years. I'm assuming that Georgia will win another national championship within the next, whether it's next year, or the year after that, or the year after that. I'm assuming that in the next 3 years, they'll probably win at least one national championship. I want to hear all the people saying that it wasn't because of Bobo and it wasn't because of him and all this and that. Look, people have done made up in their minds no matter what happened. If Georgia won the next 3 national championships in a row, they would say, well, thank God for our defense because Mike Bobo just kept calling screenplays and Georgia's literally averaging 40 points a game. It's the craziest thing to me. I'm sure I'll go back and watch this video and my phone died in the middle of the video, so it kind of threw me off there. I was on a tangent there for a minute, buddy. I was on a warpath. But I have plenty of other points about this. But like I said, get in the comments and try to talk me out of it. Try to tell me how it's not a good thing that Georgia got the best quarterback in the nation. You know, every college, I'm talking about Alabama, Tennessee, Ohio State, Michigan, Oregon, USC, Florida, all the big dogs. Did I just include Florida in a list of big dogs? Anyway, every program in the entire land of college football is trying to get this guy. Every one of them. Every head coach, every program out there is trying to get this guy. And because Georgia lands him, it's going to be somehow a bad thing. We need to just tell him, you know, just go on and play for Oregon and we're going to go try to find us a walk-on because that's what worked before. You got to be kidding me. Literally, people want to talk about what has Georgia done under Mike Bobo. What has Georgia done under Mike Bobo? Kirby's, they're best friends, and Kirby ain't going to let it go, and he's going to run our program to the ground. Like, do you seriously think that Kirby Smart is out here trying to somehow ruin his legacy as a head coach at Georgia by hanging on to Bobo? I mean, all they did last year was win the SEC championship, guys. I mean, at some point, it can't always be national championship or misery. Do I want Georgia to win the national championship every year? Yes, I want them to win it next year and the year after that. And when they didn't three-peat and when they went, now they've went 2 years without one, and now, yes, it hurts my heart. I want them to win it every year, but come on, guys, get real. Get real. It can't be national championship or misery, and it can't be that every time something bad happens, it's all Mike Bobo's fault. And I'm glad I said that because another point just hit me. And it can't be that when they do good, it was no credit to him. Like, it can't be both ways, you know. I'm telling you, look, the video's over. The past week, I've been going back in the evenings when I have some time, and I've been rewatching some games. I rewatched the Tennessee game, which was bad to the bone. Georgia hadn't been home in 37 days, and they finally got a chance to come back home. But they put on a blackout, they put on a show, and they mollywopped Tennessee in the second half of that game. Really, from the midway through the second quarter on, Tennessee could not move the ball, and Georgia was just tightening the death grip on them. I went back and watched Georgia-Auburn. I went back and watched Georgia-Clemson. I'm going to go back and watch Georgia-Florida tonight maybe and some other games. I don't know if I better watch the Georgia-Bama game because it hurts my heart too bad. But anyways, what I'm saying is you go back and you watch those games and when you're watching a game live, you're all in the moment. Your heart rate's up, your adrenaline's up, and you're not really seeing things. But go back and watch them already knowing the result. And I want you to look at all the plays and Georgia made a lot of good plays. Like I said, they won the SEC championship game. I mean, at the end of the day, what else do you want them to do? Like I said, it can't be national championship or misery every year. I mean, when you go 11-3 and win the SEC championship game, that's a pretty special season. You think Tennessee wants an SEC championship? You think Florida wants it? You think LSU? You think Alabama wants it? Yeah, they want it too. Okay, but what I'm trying to get to is, and I'm done. Look at all the plays and all the yards that were left on the field. I mean, guys, I love Arian Smith, and I defended him so hard last year. And I love Dylan Bell. He's coming back this year. And I love all of our receivers last year. Dominic Lovett and all these guys. I can't even think of their names. I've said so much right now. That was 3 of them. That was our main 3. Those guys literally, I mean, talking about they dropped the ball left and right. I watched the Tennessee game last night. I watched a good 150 yards of passing offense go right through their hands. It was insane. Bobo is calling the plays. The plays are there, okay? Go back and watch the Notre Dame game and watch how underperforming our offensive line was. They said, well, that's on the offensive coordinator. Yeah, okay, well, he can't call the plays. Bobo cannot be up in the booth calling the plays on the headset and then within 10 seconds run down on the field, snap the ball to himself, catch the ball as the quarterback, block as the offensive line, and catch the ball as the receivers. At some point, it's on the players. Okay, I'm just saying there were so many yards and so many plays that the players did not. I mean, the coach can only call the right plays. It's on the players to execute. Okay, it can't all be on Bobo. At some point, it has to be on the team. Okay, and Georgia underperformed as a team last year. Let me tell you what the problem was last year, and a lot of people, I argued with a lot of people and defended Carson Beck for so long until I had no other option. I was running out of defenses for Carson Beck. He was becoming a punk. It was obvious that the team didn't want to be around him. He was more worried about himself, and again, that's mainly not his fault. This is why you can't give kids that are 18 to 21 years old $4 million in a Lamborghini, okay? And not to say Georgia gave him $4 million. Miami just gave him $4 million. If he don't get it from Georgia, he's going to get it from somewhere else. He's going to get it from Alabama or Oregon or Ohio State. I mean, like I said, that's the rules of the game now. And I'm glad they're trying to get it under wraps with the TV money, the revenue sharing. I think that's going to help a little bit. And if they can get something in place to where they can make sure they're actually getting true NIL money, this should help a little bit. But I'm just saying, the problem last year, guys, was not Mike Bobo. Go back and go on YouTube tonight when you have a chance and watch the Georgia-Tennessee game, the full game. Go back and watch the highlight version. Well, it'll only show you the plays made then, but go back and watch these games. Go back and watch the games from last year and look at all the drop passes. Look at all the missed blocks. It can't all be on Bobo. The problem last year was not Bobo. The problem last year was Georgia put all their eggs into Carson Beck, and why wouldn't they? Would you have not done the same thing? Okay, you got a fifth-year quarterback coming back. He's been in the system for 4 years now. He knows the playbook like the back of his hands. Okay, this guy knows our offense. He looks like the real deal in practice. Why would Georgia not have put their eggs into Carson Beck? Okay, I'm just saying the problem last year was the team wasn't jiving with Beck. It wasn't Bobo. Okay, did you see in the moment that I turned, because I was arguing with people left and right. I said, look, Carson had an interception problem. He's fine. But and this video started off on a Mike Bobo thing, and now it's went down every path and every rabbit trail. But I don't know. I could just go on and on and on. The moment that it changed for me was whenever I seen Carson get hurt at halftime of the SEC championship game versus Texas. And when Gunner came in and I seen the way those players rallied around him and went down and scored on that drive, I was like, whoa. That is because I've played football before. I hadn't played college football, but I was in high school football locker rooms. I know what it's like. People don't understand what it's like who hadn't never played football. And most of the people running their mouth about Mike Bobo have never played football. They don't even know what it's like to be in a locker room full of a bunch of men. And I don't know. It was obvious to me that the team rallied around Gunner, and I said, wait, maybe there really is something to this. And then the way the whole situations went down between the Beck injury and him not being around the team for 2 weeks, preparing for the playoffs. Anyways, I'm just saying the problem last year was not Mike Bobo. The problem was Georgia put all their eggs into Carson Beck, and the locker room was not getting along with Carson Beck. And it was causing a lot of issues on the line and everything, and the running game wasn't what it was. But we're going to get a chance to see this year, buddy, because I promise you that. Now, if Mike Bobo can't do nothing with this offense this year, then I may halfway agree, because they went out and got Zachariah Branch, one of the best receivers in the country, was at USC, was like the number one receiver in the recruiting class in 2023. They went out and got Noah Thomas, dude's like 9'9", 250 pounds. I mean, they got Colby Young back. Nate Frazier, number 3, that running back, and I'm gonna make another video on him coming up here in the next couple weeks. Nate Frazier, number 3, I said it all year last year. Dude is going to be something special. Okay, he's going to be an absolute freak. I'm telling you right now, I don't want to go down this road, but he's literally going to be our next Sony Michel. He's going to be our next DeAndre Swift. He is special, and I seen it all year last year. I seen little flashes of what he could be. But we're going to see this year, because we got a quarterback that can win. He might not be the most talented quarterback out there, but, buddy, he can win, okay? And he wants to win, and he wants to play for Georgia. And give even more credit to Kirby now for going out and getting guys that ain't a bunch of punks like Nico Iamaleava, who wants to jump ship, and Carson Beck, who, give more credit to Kirby for finding guys like Gunnar Stockton and Ryan Puglisi, and now Jared Curtis, who he doesn't seem like a punk at all. Dude committed in 2 minutes. He said, I'm going to Georgia. He didn't do all this fancy stuff. Give Kirby even more credit now for going out and getting guys that love to play for Georgia, and that's going to mean something going into next year. So for all these Bobo haters out there that say Georgia ain't going to never do nothing under Bobo, Guess what? We about to find out. We about to find out because they're going to actually kick the ball off here in about 100 days.